One of my patrons asked me the other day if I could do something on blending modes inside of Photoshop. Now, blending modes in Photoshop is quite a deep subject actually, and there are numerous uses for different blend modes depending on whether you're sharpening or you're using a brush or you're trying to extract pixel masks from an image. And it can get it will actually turn into a very, very big subject, and I'm not going to do that in this video. What I wanted to do was just concentrate on a couple of very, very useful blending modes inside of Photoshop and just give you a couple of examples of how each one of them work. But just to discuss blend modes briefly in principle, we have these little grey dividing lines here, and I've sort of blown it up a little bit and replaced them with red so you can see. And the blend modes which are available to us in 8 and 16-bit images, which is the majority of the way you'll work inside of Photoshop, they're all listed down here, and you can see I've highlighted some of them in green, and these are the most useful ones. We don't have access to all of those blend modes if we're working with 32-bit images, but that's beyond the remit of this video. So if we look at the first group, whenever we create a new layer inside of Photoshop, it's always in the normal blending mode, which basically means there's no blending going on between that layer and the layer below. Then we've got this group here, darken, multiply, colour burn, linear burn, darker colour. They all make the resultant image of two blended layers go darker. Lighten, screen, colour dodge, linear dodge, lighter colour all make the resultant blended layer pair go lighter. Overlay, soft light, hard light, vivid light, linear light, pin light and hard mix are all to do with changing contrast. Difference, exclusion, subtract and divide are what I call inversions or inversion styles, and hue, saturation, colour and luminosity are what you might call image component modes, because every image has got components of hue, saturation and luminosity, or hue, saturation and colour and luminosity, of course. And within the general scheme of things for beginners and sort of intermediate level Photoshop work, the only really useful one of these that you'll find is luminosity. But that's more for adjustment layers. What I want to do today is just introduce you to multiply and screen and show you something really cool and really simple, and how you can make changes with either of these two blending modes to an existing image without using these wang bars in Lightroom and generally messing about and basically changing the levels of the pixels in the image. So the first thing we're going to do is we'll look at multiply, and I'm going to switch out to this image here, and I'll just go and reset it so you can see. So this is a shot exposed well over to the right, as you can see, but it's got Adobe's crappy Adobe color preset applied to it and all the other hideous little things that go on in the background in Lightroom when you import a shot. But I'm not really going to do a great deal to this. I'm just going to go over and pick out my D800E development profile there, like that, which is just basically what I've shown you 100 times before, which is just a standard process version swap. And the only thing I'll do, I'll leave it in Adobe Standard, and I'll just put the exposure back up to 0. So we've still got this exposure well over to the right hand side, and then we'll just crop it like I wanted to before, so I don't like the top of the frame. So we'll just leave that there, click done, and then we'll right click and we'll go edit in Photoshop CC, and there we go. All I'm now going to do is go Command, or if I was on a PC I'd go Control J to jump that image to a new layer. So there's my original, and here's my copy layer. So I've got the same image in 2 layers, one over the other, and all I'm going to do is switch it into the multiply blend mode, and there you go. Now, it might not be everybody's cup of tea, but it's a heck of an improvement on what we had before, and there is no way on God's earth you could produce this image exactly like this inside of Lightroom. And yeah, there you go. We haven't had to wang any sliders around to produce an eminently usable image from what is, to all intents and purposes, a shot that's bordering on overexposure. But it's teetering on the edge, but it's not overexposed. It's been exposed to the right. So there you go, exposing to the right, dumping it into Photoshop and sticking it in the multiply blend mode. Yeah, good starting point for working this image up with perhaps a luminosity mask or two. But anyway, we're not going to do any more of that. Let's go and switch back to Lightroom. And let's go to this image. And what have we done here? Yeah, if I just click reset, yeah, that's all I've done is crop it. So we will just go and do what I've done before, which is crop it to square, because I quite like that. And then we will right click and we will go edit in Photoshop. Because what I want to try and do is build up the saturation in the sky, but I want to keep this distance banding. This is somewhat akin to what you might call Mach banding, which you get in mountainous terrain when the light's right. And yeah, I love it. So I want to keep this, but I want to increase the saturation of the sky. So all we're going to do is Command J, and we'll drop it into the multiply blend mode. Now, we've increased the saturation of the sky, which is what we wanted to do, but we've actually lost some of this banding effect down here, because we've basically, because we put it in the multiply blend mode, we've made the base of the frame way too dark, because it was very dark in the first place. So I'm just going to pop open Greg Benzie's Lumenzia, and I'm just going to come into live masking, and I'm just going to click on light 1. Whee! There we go. So we'll just minimize that. We'll hit the Alt key to bring up the mask, and then I will go and get my graduated fill tool. I will make sure that I'm not working from black to white or white to black, but I'm working from white to transparent, because I want to keep all this detail down here in this mask and just add a bit of whiteness to it. So all we're going to do is let's just bring it down at a slightly jaunty angle, rather like that. That'll do nicely, thank you very much. And we'll hit the / key, and yes, so that's the image we started off with. That's the image we've ended up with, where we've saturated the colour in the sky by using the multiply blend mode, and we have darkened the foreground a little bit, but we've kept this nice contrast banding or spacing to keep the illusion of distance going. Okay, so let's head off back to Lightroom again, and now what we'll do is, because we've looked at multiply, we better now go and look at screen. And let's go and take this picture of this grasshopper. Okay, so it's got no settings on it whatsoever. We've done nothing to it in Lightroom at all. So we will just come and go edit in Photoshop, and then we'll go Command J to jump it to a new layer, or to copy it to a new layer, and instead of going multiply, we'll go screen. And there we go, we've actually in effect turned the exposure up by about a stop and a half. But if we go in there, it's not the world's greatest of sharp macro shots, not by any stretch of the imagination, but you can see we haven't built up any noise. And this is an image of an old camera. It's off a D2XS, so you know, I mean, it's not the most noise-free sensor you will ever come across, but we've increased the exposure without increasing any noise or generating any exposure increasing artifacting by falsely dialing up the existing pixels or the levels of the existing pixels in this one layer. All we've done is duplicated the pixels into another layer, which is what we've done there, and then we switch out the blending mode to screen. Yeah, simple. So I'm hoping you can see now that we can basically turn exposure up using the screen blending mode, or we can use it to turn the exposure down using the multiply blend mode without having to sit there doing any levels adjustments, any curves adjustments, or wanging any sliders in Lightroom. It's really simple. So let's just head off back to Lightroom and pull up another shot. Let's go for this red squirrel. Okay, so we'll hit reset. Right, now then, herein lies the tail. Shot off a D4 with a 400, is it 400mm or a 500mm? Let's go and have a look. Yeah, 500mm f4 nickel on the old D4. And this is shot in matrix metering mode. Yes, it is. And typical of any camera, be it Nikon or Canon, it'll always, on average, underexpose if you don't do anything to manually override what the camera wants to do. And I do wish people would realise that the majority of DSLRs that are out there, the meters in them make the camera underexpose your images. So what we're going to do is we'll do a full process version swap on this. So we'll go to calibration because it's too dark, and before we do that, let's just be sensible about this. What we need to do is we need to turn that squirrel up by about a 1.25 to a 1.5. But of course, with all the crap that Adobe puts on in the background, you can see we're building up a lot of noise because it is shot at a relatively high ISO, which ISO it was shot at, I do forget. But we will start to exacerbate the noise in the image. And there's too much contrast, and the squirrel doesn't really look that vivid a colour. So let's take it back to a fit to screen view. And we will just go and do a straightforward process version swap. Zeroed, come back, process version 4. Lens corrections, remove chromatic aberration, detail, default sharpening, default colour, and go on. We'll be generous, we'll put 4 points of noise reduction on. And then what are we going to do? Let's just bring the exposure back to where it should be at 0, but we'll leave the contrast turned down and the black's turned up to 25. And of course we've got this subtle inverted S-shaped tone curve. And all I'm now going to do, whoops-a-daisy, go back, there we go, and we'll go edit in Photoshop. And here we go in Photoshop, and we'll just go Command J to copy this image to a new layer, and we'll just go and switch it into the screen blending mode, and there we go. Simple. And if we take the image up to 100%, hold down the spacebar key, you can see we haven't built the noise up as much as we would if we'd use the exposure increase in Lightroom. And all we need to do now is to basically take this image back into Lightroom and just tweak the saturation a little bit. And maybe before we do that, we could do a little bit of fancy noise reduction inside of Photoshop, but that's sort of a bit beyond the remit of this video. All I'm done in this video, and was so lame, was to show you the outcome of taking an underexposed, or what you might term overexposed, image into Photoshop and then just duplicating it and changing your exposure to something a lot more acceptable just by changing the blend mode to either screen if you want to lighten the image up, or to multiply if you want to darken the image down. So there you go. Hope you've got something useful out of that video, folks. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I shall see you again very soon. Tooroo.